Yeah, you can push to right too, that'd be great.
Oh, great.
Today's a fun one. Fast, casual, approachable, delicious. Yeah, that's what we're doing today. We're starting out with a ridiculous sliced pizza joint, Lower East Side, ground their own flour, upstate New York. It's like artisanal sliced pizza. Great story. Across the street from that, Regina's Grocery, incredible Italian sandwiches. Think Faicos, think Bensonhurst. Yeah, Lower East Side now. A mom and her son, it's killer. Then Japanese home-style cooking.
When people use the word Bessou in Japanese, it evokes like a little getaway.
And then over to Essex Street, the Char, where a guy I've known for years is just having a blast doing kind of Asian Izakaya stuff with a taco thrown in. Fun show, that's what's next.
I'm Mike Colameco, industry insider. Been in the business my whole life, and I know what it takes to succeed. Each week we'll take you into real kitchens, filmed in real time. Backstage passes to a day in the life of chefs, restaurateurs, and their teams. The competition's fierce. Careers, life savings, and reputations hang in the balance. These are my people, and this is their passion. And that's what's next on Mike Colameco's Real Food.
Mike Colameco's Real Food is brought to you by the continuous, generous support of the following underwriters.
Extra virgin olive oil from Colavita, an Italian family brand.
Rachel Ray's signature specialty food line, designed for preparing meals at home.
As you can see, I'm not trying to hide anything in my basement, so. One of our family friends is the pizza man. I started asking questions about pizza. I was like, yo, how do you do this? How do you do that? Why do you leave it out? Little by little, I just started watching and doing it, let me practice here and there. Then I just started liking pizza, making pizza and stuff, doing it at home, practicing, making it by hand.
Flowers from upstate?
Yeah, from Champlain Valley.
What made you decide to do the grain in-house?
People have a misunderstanding, like when you grow up in New York, that, like I grew up poor, so they think that we have a poor diet. Meanwhile, people don't understand, like I had people that were older than me that were teaching me the right way to eat. So learning that lesson growing up, in my mind, I'm like, why does a burger have to be bad for you? Why does a pizza have to be bad for you? You know, why do you have to buy cheap stuff to make pizza with? So I just went that extra mile and just like, you know what, I'm gonna start milling my own flour. People don't understand this either. I was trying to replicate New York style pizza. Now, when you make a New York style in any place, you just get a bag of flour, open it up, big commercial bag, pour it in, water, yeast, salt,
right.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Quick dough.
Yeah. With us, it was like, all right, let me replicate the flour that's in the bag. So I reverse engineered it. I saw the bag, and I figured out that most of the stuff that's in it, it's actually not meant for consumption. It's meant to keep preserved on the shelves for years, to try to keep it fresh as long as possible. They take all the nutrients out of it. Because the nutrients, what happens is if you leave the nutrients in it after about 6 months to a year, the flour starts growing worms and bacteria start growing on it. So that's why they take all that stuff out of it. Our ingredients, on a cost basis, I tell people, oh, I ate in this wood-fired spot and the pizza's fantastic. But in reality, our ingredients are actually way better than their ingredients, believe it or not. The flour you buy in Italy is old. People don't know that. Sometimes they buy the wheat here, bring it to Italy, mill it, let it sit on shelves for forever. And then people don't understand that. I go straight to the store, super hyper-local. So what we do with our dough, it's about 18 hours ambient temperature, outdoor temperature, and it's about 20 to 24 hours in the fridge.
So you retard the fermentation in the refrigerator?
Yeah, we do that as well.
So it's basically 2 days?
About, 48 hours or so. To be completely honest with you, to keep it consistent, it took us about 10 months after the open to have like a consistent product.
He's done.
The reason we do it by the slice is because I wanted it to be accessible to everybody. I mean, like we could have easily made it a pie shop with the ingredients that we're using.
Right.
And my prices are in line with places that use brominated flours and cheaper ingredients and stuff like that. Like my give back to the community is not charging more for it, you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, because it's worth more. I don't want to charge $30, $40 for a pie for a kid that comes out here because they see us on TV or read about us somehow. You know, I want them to come in and like, you know, have a full belly spending $10.
I mean, it's a great idea to do this super clean, you're doing your own pies, you're grinding flour. Now you sort this from upstate, so you know where it's coming from, but the natural wine idea.
Natural wine idea was me and my partner Loth. If we're doing something that's high quality in the front, food-wise, you should match it with the beverage, in my opinion.
We kind of went all out, like SCARR hit on it. Like, we do the food organically, let's do the beverage organically.
Right. It makes total sense to me, but in a way, it's a real outlier.
We had to educate our staff about how to educate the consumer in an unpretentious way. Because this is a pizzeria, like. And it even goes down to like how we operate the business. Like even our wood panels are biodegradable, like they're made from recycled things. Like our forks are, I can see if you're not from New York, you would think this is like kind of gimmicky, you know? So we wanted to just like have a high quality of products, food and beverage, but not have like the stuffiness to it. Still have the fun, laid back, like
accessible,
casual. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
To be honest with you, we've been busy from day one. One lesson I learned is your name means everything. The people that know me downtown, like in the food industry or on the street or whatever, so people are like, oh, SCARR's opening up a shop, we're gonna show up a little bit and support them.
I used to live in the West Village for most of the aughts, and I'd walk down Bleecker and I would go into Faicco's once in a while for sandwiches and just think of that classic overstuffed Italian deli sandwich that honestly could feed 2 people. So where'd you get the idea for the sandwiches and who'd you name them after? Who's Uncle Tony? And
we invented the sandwiches to mimic the characteristics of our family. My Uncle John was larger than life. That's why he's got the biggest sandwich. My Uncle Jimmy was probably around the same size, but he was way spicier. So he's got all the characteristics of the Uncle John with my mother's hot sauce, and then it just goes down the line.
Whose bread is that?
That's Grand Daisy. So it's a Storado bread, more like a brick oven. Regina's Calabrian chili is what makes it spicy, and that is the difference between this and the Uncle John. It's not like in-your-face vinegar spicy, it has a bit more flavor, so it does connect to almost anything. It's prosciutto that we have imported. We work with one importer from Italy. It also has hot supersad. We use a flatter hot supersad. It also has Calabrian chili in it. That's also imported. We use a smoked ham from small farm in Connecticut, which has been fun to source because they are minuscule. Our mozzarella is made in Brooklyn, and roasted red peppers, arugula. That's balsamic glaze. Add a little black pepper. Sandwich is done.
Looks nice, doesn't it? I mean, hard to argue with that. With these sandwiches, there's no place to hide. So if the bread's not great, if the meat's not great, it is simply addition. Start with great stuff and don't get in the way.
We are your traditional New York Italian, but there's definitely a twist behind us, and that's what we did with our food. And that was our goal. So the Roman, it is the smoked chicken. It is a cold cut, which I did want to keep a lot of the provisions cold cuts. We're predominantly a deli. I think for a traditional deli, this was where things got interesting. My mother makes the broccoli rabe, adding the cooked ingredient from my mother to your traditional cold cut items is where I think we borderline that artisanal twist. Fresh mozzarella and roasted red peppers, arugula, balsamic and olive oil, done. So everything has a bit of its own characteristic, and that again, which is what makes us a bit original.
Bensonhurst is originally, that's where you're from?
Yeah, we're from Bensonhurst.
So old Italian neighborhood where there's pork stores and sandwich stores and...
Absolutely, we grew up, yeah. I grew up in it, but I also grew up, there was an allure behind it. You know, there was an allure behind a pork store. There was an allure behind a social club. There was an allure behind what happened behind that door. You know, so it was fun. And again, it was family oriented. We had an idea to do food for a long time. And, you know, we found the space, fell in love with it. This neighborhood felt like it was one of the last neighborhoods in New York that felt like it was a neighborhood or could become one. And kind of made it our home. So this is the Uncle Rocco. We use Italian tuna.
Capers?
Capers, black pepper, small touch of garlic powder.
Calabrian pepper again.
Calabrian pepper. No mayo, fresh mozzarella, red peppers. Just a classic twist. I know fish and cheese don't necessarily mix, but we are a twist to your tradition.
What's that now?
So broccoli rabe.
That's the broccoli rabe, okay.
We mixed it up with this one. It's a big sandwich. This is Chiro. He's the backbone.
This is kind of a unique thing you have for this neighborhood.
It's her, and we built this for family. And you know, she takes care of the neighborhood, and that's kind of again what she did for all of us when we were growing up. She's still, I mean, she's halfway a therapist as much as she's a chef.
Morning, gentlemen. How we doing?
A lot of our customers, the mothers are coming in and saying, thank you for taking care of my son and my daughter, because I know that they're eating great now. They're not eating junk, they're eating good quality food.
Thank you, guys. Nice seeing you.
We're family backbone first, and that's what we want to build, and that's why we're here. We want to be part of the community, and we're not going anywhere.
When people use the word Bessou in Japanese, it evokes like a cottage by the sea or some cabin in the woods, like a summer house or a getaway home, a bed and breakfast, that sort of thing. And I wanted to create a space where New Yorkers would feel that way about the restaurant, like a little getaway. I grew up in a restaurant family. My father owned a Japanese restaurant on the Upper West Side called Rikyu, and it was actually one of the first sushi restaurants on the Upper West Side. So I grew up in the restaurant, watching my dad.
And that didn't convince you not to go into the restaurant business.
I mean, initially it did. My dad was like, do not.
Right. Usual parents'
do not
advice.
do what I did.
Restaurateurs is don't do this.
Yeah.
It's just some of the sauce that we're gonna heat up for the trout. We have a brook trout that we just put on the menu for spring. It is a whole brook trout that is pin boned, and we roast that and then put a miso sauce on top, ginger miso sauce, which is a very classic preparation, but with a very different fish than what you would normally do in Japanese cuisine. So we're just kind of quickly charring a little bit of radish greens. So we're gonna plate that with the radishes and on the brook trout as well. You can give it a little extra char.
Wow. The sauce is what again, Chef?
This is a miso ni sauce, so it's a ginger, red miso, white miso, sake, a little bit of sugar, but good amount of ginger.
Radish greens, radishes themselves.
Exactly, and then some fresh
Ginger?
ginger on top. So
Has that ginger seen some acid or is just fresh?
fresh. So I grew up in Vancouver, Canada. We were really near seafood and we had the freshest fish, but nothing in high school really clicked for me, and I really loved home economics. And then I just took a risk and went to culinary school, and I just knew right away that this is what I was gonna do. So I was working for Daniel Boulud in Singapore. So I was went from line cook to executive sous chef for Danielle, and then I transferred to Boulud Sud in New York. For gomai shisamaki grilled romaine. So that's our spicy yosanabe. Yosanabe means mixed seafood, and kind of like anything goes. So the spicy broth is a sake lees, which is the pulp left over after you make sake. We also have tobanjan, which is a fermented bean paste, and various spices, and dashi. And all that is cooked with the seafood, and the seafood flavors the broth, especially the shrimp.
Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of a little bit like a bisque, and our little version of a bisque, so it's really good.
Dad's still around?
Yeah, he helps out a lot.
Really?
For a time, he was preparing a lot of the sauces. We
Really?
still use black garlic that he makes at his house on the Upper West Side, and we make dressings out of it.
And now I'm gonna fry some baby octopus as well. And I'm plating a takoage right now. It's like our reinterpretation on takoyaki. So we have black garlic tonkatsu sauce going on it. The black garlic is also made by Michael's father in the Upper West Side.
She's still in it.
Yes, he's still in it. Salmon crispy rice is one of our signatures, which is the sushi rice pressed into a triangle and deep fried. I love the contrast of it, like a cold fish on a hot, crispy sushi rice.
So this is sushi rice.
Yes.
So short grain sticky.
Right.
That you've cooked, pressed, formed, and refrigerated?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So it's really important that it's refrigerated so that we can cut out the molds. And it's in the shape of an onigiri, so it's like triangle.
Where'd you get the idea for this?
Michael.
Okay, Japanese home cooking.
Yeah. I mean, she like has great ideas, and then I just make it happen. Sometimes her idea is a little bit crazy. You know, I'm like, this is kind of crazy, but
This one's not crazy.
This one's not crazy. It's like it's crispy on the outside, but inside it's still like a little bit like soft and like mushy. So it's the perfect contrast of textures. So while that's frying, I'm just gonna quickly marinate some of the sashimi in ponzu. So it's a house-made ponzu as well. It's one of Michael's dad's recipes that we've modernized and adjusted a little bit for the sashimi rice. So it's just a quick dip. So now I'm just doing a little soy sauce. So I've got some wasabi aioli.
All right, some cream, some heat.
And there's some acid on here as well, so from that ponzu. And then we've got some ikura, which is the salmon roll that we've marinated in soy dashi.
Marinated in soy dashi.
Yeah. We just got some micro chives going on top.
What's it called on the menu?
Salmon ikura crispy rice.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Every year we'd have a holiday party at my house, and my mom would cook a huge feast of hot pots and different dishes from where she was from in Japan, and everyone loved it, and I would see everyone, and you know, it was just such a big part of our family. I didn't really have a chance to learn from my mother, who passed away when I was 18. So, you know, I was really trying to seek different forms of Japanese food and learning about it. I just had some sort of kind of passion for learning. Thought we could enjoy the Senkin Jumai Daiginjo. It's new on our list. It's actually new to New York. Old school sake was very much a little sweeter, coated the mouth more. It was a little syrupy. And nowadays it's a little closer to white wine. There's a lot more acidity. It's brighter. This one happens to be fermented in koji, which is live rice culture, and it makes for a little effervescence. So when you first open it, it kind of pops, and it really feels bright on the tongue as well.
Gotcha.
This is actually from Tochigi Prefecture, where my dad's from, and it's not known for sake at all, but it's kind of like in this different part. It's not Napa Valley, but it's like making a name for itself.
That's delicious.
Yeah.
And you're right, it has a little more viscosity to it, and it's slightly sweet. Delicious.
So growing up with a dad who was doing sushi all the time, I knew sushi is very popular, and now ramen is really popular as well. But I wasn't seeing home-cooked dishes that I grew up eating. You know, for me, Japanese food is about stews and grilled fishes and fried vegetables and, you know, really looking at seasonal ingredients. I never lived in Japan, so everything I know about being Japanese, it comes from the food I ate at home, and so I wanted to share that with New Yorkers.
I was very fortunate to work under a lot of great chefs.
I remember, your resume was like bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, I worked under Susur Lee, Daniel Hum, Wesley Genevart, Nobu Fukuda back in Arizona, one of my mentors.
I'm gonna go bar.
I realized I had to be an owner at one point to do what I wanted, have creative freedom, you know, and just work for yourself.
Ceviche is going where?
Ceviche for bar 9.
A chef that runs his food.
This here's steamed mushrooms. We got shiitake, maitake, enoki. Enoki gives you like that nice crunchy texture with all the other soft mushrooms in there. And when it goes out there, the steam's still coming, and you can just, the customers smell it, and everybody's like, what is that? What is that? So it's a fun dish. First dish we're gonna do is tuna tataki. It's kind of a play on a Japanese dish, but completely spun with a roasted beet, sesame sauce, a little bit of watercress, and gem lettuce salad. So the first thing is gonna be the roast beet sauce.
How do you cook the beets? Roast.
So we roast them, sesame oil, onions, and then we puree it with the soy, the vinegar, and the wine. Nice big eye tuna. Grill it really fast. Black pepper, salt. A lot of my dishes are all about the sauce. Protein is just something to carry through the dish, but everything that you'll see here is all about the sauce work. So a lot of sauce on the plate. That's where all the flavor is. Finish it. Very strong vinaigrette for the salad.
Yeah, that was the acid in there.
Yeah, that's
really
the
citric.
acid. Salty as well. I don't like to toss the salad too much because it wilts the greens.
Especially with that high acid vinaigrette.
And just a little drizzle. And there you have it. Really simple, but all about the sauce again.
It's delicious.
So this is our version of poutine. So we do Asian poutine.
Yeah.
So we do make our own French fries.
So double blanch and then refry later?
We boil them until they're like super soft, and then we dry them in the walk-in, and then we fry them one time. Cheese curds, white cheddar, and then this is like a mapo chicken, kind of like, you know, that you see in Chinatown. Mapo, they use pork sometimes, and we do chicken, and we put that over the fries. And then we do a little bit of black bean on top.
He ain't playing.
So it's like a really nice like chili oil, black bean, pickles and chilies, and that's it. Nice little bar snack.
And tell me what you're doing. Like, what's the vision of the menu? Because for me, in short, it's like you're having fun.
Yeah, you know, it's I kind of want a place where I didn't want to label myself one thing, but the ingredients I play with and I enjoy most are Asian, Southeast Asian, Japanese, of course. So I want to do an Izakaya so we could have little plates from all over Southeast, Japan, even Chinese, stuff like that.
Whoa, this is the signature roast duck.
It is.
What's on the outside of it?
So it's just a Szechuan spice rub. We dry age it for a little bit to get rid of the moisture. That way when we roast it, we get that nice golden, crispy skin. I mean, as you can see, you can hear it, the crispiness.
That's crispy. I mean, that's extra crispy.
It's like a chip, yep. Still see it's juicy, but yet crispy. So you see it's still kind of pink.
Yep.
So it's got all the juices, but also that crispy skin.
Part of the rice bowl program?
It is.
Which is like a riff off those like Chinatown lunch specials.
It's like, you know, your donburi bowl that you see at little Japanese shops. Japanese short grain rice, and then a little duck jus over the rice, a little bit of garnish, just a little salad to keep it light, fresh. Pickles.
Yeah, because the duck's going to be a bit fatty and rich.
Chilies, yep.
Some heat, some acid, some crunch.
A little crunch for the salad. And there you have it. It's our signature roast duck. Crispy, juicy, good spices on there.
Rice, herbs, crunch, acid. It's like perfect, dude.
Being an Izakaya, gotta have ramen on the menu. We're meat heavy here. We always have tons of bones. So we smoke them, put them all in a big pot, let it go for hours, and we make this rich bone broth.
Of mixed bones?
Yeah, it's duck, pork, beef, chicken, all mixed together. It's like a master stock. It's really cool stuff. So we start off for the pork belly in it. Just a little marinade, soy marinade to go on the grill. Fresh noodles. So it cooks fast, about 45 seconds.
You sell a fair amount of ramen?
We do. I mean, we make big pots of it every week. From here, we do a little bit of the fat.
It's the secret ingredient in ramen. Half an ounce or an ounce of fat in almost everything. And that's just generic fat or chicken fat?
No, it's the fat left over from all the...
Skimming.
From skimming, yeah. We just kind of strain it out and just get the pure fat.
Why not?
And then this rich broth. And it the heat kind of heats up that pate in there. Brings out that chili oil.
Cabbage.
You gotta put some vegetables in there,
right,
but not too much. Scallions, a little bit of sesame crumble. In the pork belly, we get that nice char on there. Kind of carry that smokiness through.
And it's a meal.
Oh, this is a meal.
I think so. I mean, if you're sensible.
Yeah, I can't even finish it.
Look at this broth. Look at that sheen on it. Yeah, you can see that fat across the top. Do you get the smokiness carried over from the fat too? If you just taste that fat by itself?
It's all got, the smoke's all over it, yeah. I mean, once you boil those smoked the bones for
Smoke's like
a few
component
hours,
in this.
it's just like...
Smoke is like a big component in this dish. I think you nailed it.
I'm Spanish Mexican, so I was like, I gotta get a taco on the menu some way or the other. So this dish.
Yes, this is the Mexican.
This
Japanese.
is one of those dishes we like to have fun with. Figured out how can we get a taco on the menu. We deep fried egg roll skins, which are.
That's what that is.
Yeah, which is great because if you look at it, it gets all these little bubbles.
Yeah.
And it's like really cool texture. Like the crunch on it is insane. We do a kind of a ground beef. You see all these fresh curry leaves, these whole chilies. It's a black pepper beef, kind of something you see in Chinatown. It's that flavor, but just in taco form. And the flavor of this, it's all about the fresh curry leaves. I always like to throw like a whole chili in there.
And they're not that hot.
Oh, they're spicy. So of course you gotta have avocado on your taco.
Shredded cabbage.
Cabbage. Like to put a little Thai basil on here. Kind of goes well with that black pepper. A little cilantro.
Whoa, I'm seeing tweezers in the kitchen. I thought I could go tweezer free today.
Yeah, that's just so we don't dip our fingers in the vinegar.
All
when
right,
we're getting the
okay.
pickles out. And there you have it, tacos.
You can come in and graze, you can come in and eat as much as you want. I mean, it's not like a big spending restaurant.
That's what I wanted to. I want a place where you can come every week, twice a week, casual atmosphere. You know, just a fun spot to hang out.
My Colameco's Real Food is brought to you by the continuous, generous support of the following underwriters.
Extra virgin olive oil from Colameco, an Italian family brand.
Rachel Ray's signature specialty food line, designed for preparing meals at home.